started since it's 3:00, and we do have a pretty quick agenda today. So good afternoon and welcome. And on behalf of the K through 12 Orange County School Mental Health Resource Directory, we would like to welcome you to the Back to School Open House series. And you are in the right spot if you are here for the series. We are starting today with supporting youth in time of crisis. So thank you so much for joining us. Next slide. And again, thank you for taking the time to join us and learn about the school mental health resources. Each 30 weekly meeting session will focus on a specific topic and highlight a resource developed by the resource directory team, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in a few seconds. We're actually hosting the series along with guest speakers that help to develop these resources for us. Next slide. And I'm Angela Castellanos. I'm the School and Community Liaison for the Center for Applied Research Solutions. And I'm also joined here by our team, Ingrid and Stephen, who are here to support you in any technology questions as well. And I serve as a school mental health liaison for this particular project. And I have experience and over about 25 years of experience in school mental health. And also I was a school social worker a few years, well, over like 20 years ago, but then I was also doing administrative work within a couple of school districts in the Orange and LA County area. So I'm very excited to present to you a lot of really great resources that we have available for you as well. So next slide. The Orange County Healthcare Agency has partnered with the Center for Applied Research Solutions to provide resources for the school mental health community. So the Orange County Healthcare Agency is funding 4 projects, and the Center for Applied Research Solutions is overseeing 2 of the projects. One is a community networking project, and the other one is the resource directory. So we're one of the 4 projects. Next slide. And as we begin today's journey, I'd like to acknowledge that there's so many different things going on in our world right now. And we really want to thank you for taking the time to join us in the next 30 minutes to go over some really fascinating resources. We also know that the summer went by really fast. I don't know, August was here for like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden we're now in September. But some of us are still transitioning. Some of us are back into reintegrating to a new structure and routine. So, but wherever you are on this map, we're going to invite you today to use this time to restore and learn more about resources that are available for our students in the community as well. And this is today's roadmap for us. So we're going over introductions. We're going to talk a little bit about who you are, and then also resources for schools. And we'll have a short conversation about how to implement some of these different resources onto your school campuses. Next slide. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, we want to know who you are. So if you could please put in your name and your role and in the chat, and also from the organization that you belong to as well. And one question that I have for you is, what drives you into September? So the question is, I know that we're all, working on different routines and integrating. And I'll give you an example. I think for me, one thing that drives me to September is fall, right? So for me, the changing season means new beginnings. So that's for me, that's what's driving me into getting into September and looking in that piece as well. So we're welcoming you to write that information. So we have Jennifer from the County of Orange Social Services, the FACT program. So thank you for being here today. So Jennifer, what drives you into September? What are some pieces that you're looking forward to? We also have Debbie from Capua Unified. Oh, thank you for being here. And students, the energy of the students, awesome, right? I know my 17-year-old nephew is actually a senior this year. He's super excited about, going back to school and connecting with others. So we have Fabiola Soto also from a health educator, PTA. Thank you so much for being here and participating in our learning session today.
There's also Sheila Cruz with Orange Coast College at the top of the chat. I noticed her name.
Yes. Oh, hi, Sheila. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Ingrid. I didn't get to see that on the chat as well. So We have some other folks here as well. Hi. So the sharing and promoting the resource center here in the Orange County. So we'd love to hear more information about some of those resources available as well. All right, so next slide. Let's get to the kind of the meat of the information and the conversation we're going to have today. So there's two pieces that we're going to be introducing. So we have so many different resources, but today we're going to focus specifically on what the resource directory is. And then also we have some youth tips that we're going to go through. So as I mentioned earlier, the healthcare agency is very dedicated in increasing access to mental health resources for students in the school community. And so they committed to this is a 2-year project, and this is year 2 of our project, where the resource directory is embarking in, or their journey is to create a resource directory that's a platform basically to find resources related to school mental health. Ingrid is actually going to place a very short video. We're not going to watch it today, but take a look at the video where it talks about how to access the information, the resources that are available in the school community. There's so many different pieces that you can connect. We'll have a conversation mid learning session today to go over what are some ways that you can actually integrate some of these pieces onto your agencies, your school districts that you work for, to be able to make sure that the families are connected to some of these resources. So thank you, Ingrid, for putting that information in the chat, the short video.
Okay. Oh, you'd like the video now? Okay, because I also have the resource directory links.
Oh, you could actually put both of those as well.
Okay, great. So I'm starting with the links and hold on for the video.
Perfect. So we can actually put that information as well. And then you also got that as part of the bit.ly registration for today's learning session. There's a promotional video that was attached to that particular registration page where you can actually watch. It's a very short, I think it's like a minute video where it kind of takes you through the information and how to access some of these additional resources through the resource directory. So that's the other piece. So the next slide, we're going to start with our wonderful conversation about youth mental health. And so in the next slide, Stephen, if we can go to the youth action team. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm the school and community liaison for both projects. So with the community networking project, in March of this year, March 3rd, we actually convened a youth town hall. And in partnership with, or in collaboration with Supervisor Wagner's district, we actually partner with 4 school districts and several agencies to deliver a youth town hall. And this particular town hall was actually brought to our attention because of the data and the information that was pretty alarming, right? At the height of the pandemic, there was an increase in hospitalizations amongst youth. And so our partners came to us and they said, we want to be able to connect families to these resources. And how do we do that? And with the Youth Town Hall, we partner up with the City of Irvine Youth Action Team. And that particular program is actually it's one of the most unique programs that I've seen. And these particular students, there's a middle school program and a high school program where the youth are actually hired through the City of Irvine as paid employees. And their job is to promote wellness amongst their peers. So it's a really exciting program. After this, we're going to send you guys the information and also send you the slide deck along with additional information if you'd like to, kind of listen to the recording of the youth town hall. So it was really fascinating. So they had a conversation. They actually moderated the entire 2-hour youth town hall, but we had a conversation. So the youth actually told us what they needed. And the 3 questions that they talked about is 1, how the impact of COVID on their mental health. They also talked about what adults can do to help them and support them during this process. And the last piece is that a lot of times mental health is a continuum of supports, right? So it may not necessarily be a direct process for therapy, could be some other pieces. And the youth talked about what resources are available for them that they use during this time or when times are challenging. So they gave us a lot of insight, a lot of information. Because the program was so effective and so enticing and exciting for the community, there were so many questions that came up out of that particular conversation. And so the next slide, we did a follow-up conversation. So we did a roundtable where we actually reconnected back with the youth action team, and one of our video experts and moderated and edited the video that we're going to show. It is a 16-minute video. We're not going to show the entire video, unfortunately, but we are going to show 7.5 minutes of the video. And one of the things that as you're looking at this or listening and or watching this video, I want you to pay close attention to what they have to say to us. There is not this video. There's not an activation in any kind of negative feelings. It's very inspiring. So I want you to pay close attention to it. Every time that I watch it, when I was preparing the information for today's learning session, I was taking notes. I was getting so much tips and information from the youth. And we'll have a little bit of a short discussion after you get to see this. So Stephen, if you can actually put the video onto the screen and we can, watch it and relax and just take notes. Just make sure you take notes and points from this particular video.
Hi, I'm Jenny Zhang. I'm a senior at Northwood High School.
Hi, I'm Isaac Khalil. I'm a junior at Portola High School.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Knott. I'm a senior from Woodbridge High School.
Hi, I'm Bardia Safari, and I'm a junior at Irvine High School.
Hi, I'm Rania Sharoff, and I'm a junior at Beckman High School.
Hi, I'm Haley Chan, and I'm a senior at Northwood High School.
A lot of my teachers would advise me by saying to be easy on ourselves because this year was obviously really difficult, and to reach out to them whenever we needed to. One of my teachers sent out an attendance Google form, and in it were questions like, oh, how are you feeling today? On a scale from 1 to 10, please rank how you're feeling. And I remember that day I was kind of stressed, so I put that I was feeling stressed. And the same exact day, she emailed me saying oh, why are you feeling stressed? Is there anything I can do? And I remember being really surprised because I thought that teachers just used the form for attendance. I didn't think that they actually read every single answer. And so after that, I felt like I could actually reach out to them if I needed help. And that really helped me through the pandemic, knowing that, she was there for me.
My teacher's consistently reminding me that we're all going through this, so everyone's going to be understanding.
My teacher's telling me to, take breaks. It's important to still be having fun and taking breaks and checking in with yourself, whether it's physically or mentally, meditating.
I reached out to one of my teachers and I was like, hey, I'm kind of feeling FOMO here. I feel like all of them are having fun and I'm stuck at home and isolated because I don't want to catch anything. And I remember they told me to just trust in myself to know the difference between the right decision and the wrong decision. And that really helped me reflect over my own choices over quarantine and just really grow as a person.
I think it's really important coming back in person. I think a lot of people are definitely really scared and feel like they've lost a lot of social skills and friends. And I think that the biggest thing that can make a difference is just the small things. I think it's really the little things in life that make a difference. And I think that we can all relate, just small things like someone smiling at you or waving at you in the hallway, or just remembering your name or giving you a compliment can really just make your day and make you smile for the rest of the day. And so I think that at least I will try to do that a lot this year. For example, even things like asking someone to sit with you during lunch, it might be intimidating and you might be scared or think it's awkward, but really the worst thing that could happen is like they say no thank you and then you guys like both move on with your day. But the best thing that could happen is like you make their day, you make a new friend, and make someone else feel like welcome on campus.
Like simple things are sometimes the things people remember the most. And like during lunch and breaks we have throughout campus, just if you see someone alone, like go up and start a conversation. Because in my opinion, starting the conversation is the hardest part. And once you start a conversation, just hi, how are you? You can keep going from there. And like if you remember that nothing is gonna go in as planned, like the only guarantee in life we have is that there are no guarantees.
Personally, this question about struggling with COVID anxiety, like within a friend group, it hurts kind of personally because I was the friend within my friend group who definitely had COVID anxiety, especially because in my family, we had someone who was immune like compromised. So we took the pandemic like really seriously. And it was really difficult for me to kind of like go back into like going to in-person like hybrid school and like feeling kind of like not so anxious all the time. So I feel like the biggest thing that helped me was like my friends definitely knew how to like respect like what I felt comfortable with and just kind of like really helping me ease back in.
I think someone said remembering people's names that you meet, just like, hey, and then their name, just like ask them questions like, how's your day going? What class are you going into right now? Do you know this? Just anything to start up a conversation is really, really important.
It's the simple things, just smiling at people or, being the one to start the conversation. I think just knowing that there are other people out there who understand the way you're feeling can help you feel a lot less alone.
As humans, we are extremely adaptable. As in only 1 year, we're completely adjusted to online learning. And I feel like if you remember that you can adjust that quickly, you can always adjust as quickly back. And as a peer, we have so many mental health specialists on campuses, including counselors and any of your teachers.
I completely relate. Last year, before returning to hybrid learning, I felt the same exact way. I was thinking like in my head, oh my God, like I lost all my social skills. Like, I don't know how I'm going to talk to people. And I don't know how I'm going to go back to like going to school for like 6 hours after just like laying at home all day for the past few months. And I think that it's really easy to like think of all these the worst possible scenarios. But like when you actually go into it, it's really not going to be that bad. For example, like from hybrid this year, I think I realized that there's a lot of energy that you get from human interaction. So it really won't be as tiring as you think it will be. And at the same time, everyone's in the same boat.
As sad and scary as it is, they're not the only person dealing with the COVID anxiety or the scariness of returning to in-person learning. Considering that it's something so many students are dealing with, it's kind of comforting to know that you're not the only person going through it.
I think it's really important to, especially coming back from COVID, respect the boundaries and understand what your friends may be comfortable with. For me personally, if I see any of my friends struggling to, come back to in person after a year of COVID, I tell them that, first of all, like I'm here for them. Like sometimes talking it out really helps. And I would help like give them like, oh, we have so many counselors on site. We have so many people that you can talk to and just reassure them that what they're going through is normal. I think all of us have had a degree of this COVID anxiety because like it's been such a wild year for all of us. So just respecting their boundaries.
Words of affirmation and just reassurance could be a really big help because I feel like a lot of this COVID anxiety and this all these worries about returning to in-person learning, we can easily overthink these things, and it's really common for us to become overwhelmed by all of our thoughts. So just having that friend to talk to about your feelings and really just having them there to reassure you and encourage you, that's something that really helped me when I was feeling anxious about the return to in-person learning. They really understand that a lot of students are dealing with similar issues. So I think teachers are just a great resource for this time.
And I'm going to have, since it's a small group, you can please feel free to chime in. You can unmute yourself, but also, what are some takeaways that you got from the video? I put in a couple of things in the chat for myself. right? So as I was hearing and kind of listening to what some of the information that they were providing us, I'm here for you, reassure them, having a friend, there's resources here for you, right? So those are some of the takeaways for me as I was listening to them. I could just say, wow, like these youth are so, they're so wise for their age, right? So it was so nice to hear that information and the reassurance that actually, when I was actually, we were filming this, getting that information was so inspiring for me. So just feel free to write in some information in there, write in your takeaways. Human connection is always very important. Definitely. Thank you, Sheila, for adding that piece in there. Feel free to keep adding some more information in there. We are going to be sending you a copy of the video. And this particular handout that we're also going to send you, and Ingrid's actually going to put that in the chat as well, is what we did is that we did a compilation of different things, a couple of things. One is we were able to extract information from the initial youth town hall and giving us more and writing out more tips for youth. And there's also a classroom discussion guide that comes along with this particular video. So there's so many different ways that you can actually use this particular video and the actual tip sheet. You can use it as a staff meeting, staff planning, classroom discussion as well. Student wellness clubs could be something that you can do. So there's bits and pieces for this particular video that you can show, the teachers can show in a professional development training, right? So there's a lot of different opportunities for this to be demonstrated. So I think I love to watch the video over and over. It goes really fast, and the information that the students are providing is very helpful and useful for the rest of our kids. So it's really nice. And I just really want to give a big shout out to the Youth Action Team, because they're such a great team, and they work very closely with the school sites. We actually had a meeting with a program coordinator today because we're going to be doing another moderation, but it's gonna be a focus more specifically on reintegrating back into the classroom. So we're doing that in November as part of the school counseling symposium, and they're really working hard and connecting with the mental health specialists in the Irvine Unified School District to work closely with them, delivering different presentations. They have podcasts available. So it's such a great model to use for youth engagements. It's really nice to see how involved they are in that process as well. And so as we're kind of coming close, we have about 7 more minutes left. I know that we had a little bit of a conversation about what this could look like. So does anybody have any questions or thoughts about these particular 2 resources available for a school community? You can unmute yourself or actually write it in the chat. And that's a really quick overview of the information today. But we want to hear from you. So any takeaways, ideas, pieces that you want everybody to know, or even questions, right? So for me, I kind of wrote down a couple of different aha takeaways for me, as far as making sure that there's letting someone know that there's help and there's support out there, and acknowledging that. So that's one of the pieces that the kids really talked about. So those are the takeaways for me.
Hi, this is Christine Tolbert. I'm with the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. Thank you so much for sharing this resource today and the video, and kudos to everyone involved in the video, and being willing to share their own personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how is this being used? Is this being presently used, or is this just kind of the kickoff in today's meeting, sort of like sharing it as a resource, or has it already been used, not just generated as a video, but how is it being used, I guess, in schools so far, and what's it like?
Thank you so much for being here, Christine. That's a fantastic question and segue for our next piece. So the open house, so the resource director developed a lot of resources last year. And so we're doing a showcase of all the different resources. And we're actually going to be facilitating a poll in the next few minutes to ask and see how the school community would like to, if you would like to us to have a series of a series to discuss implementation. That's one thing, and we can have a conversation about that. I'll get more data about it, but basically what we're doing is we're showcasing, sending out this information through a variety of different avenues. As of today, after today, you're going to get all of these different resources. So you're welcome to share this resource out into the community. The actual, the guide that we created, the youth tips, that's actually, there's a classroom discussion guide attached to that as well. So there's specific instructions, but we are going to be guiding a conversation, which is such a great segue to us facilitating that poll right now and get input from you and what you want to do next with this information. So Stephen, if you can actually put up the Mentimeter poll for us. It's in the chat if you can actually answer these questions, and we'll see the information here live. You can just click that link.
I'm having trouble with the link. It says I have to be signed into my Zoom account, and I am, but it's not allowing me to open it.
Okay, we will take care of that. Saying the same thing for me also.
Thank you.
So Christine, where are you based?
We're in Orange County, where our office is in Santa Ana, but we are we provide services to everyone in the county. Advocacy first, yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have access to schools?
Yes, so we work a lot with schools, with administrators, with instructors. And I'm actually thinking there's quite a few collaboratives that I can bring this information to that would really benefit from this.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's another avenue is to be able to reach out, because these resources are available for you. So you can just share them. And then also letting us know right now, like if you're interested in doing like an implementation series to invite more folks, right? So marketing some of that information. So there's tons of different ideas. So if you can just share that with us, and then we'll take that back and, market and promote this information. So we know that it's very useful for schools and organizations to do that.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking in particular, because we serve those with developmental disabilities, I'm thinking maybe even, from, I don't know, we can talk offline, but I'm thinking this would be really neat to do. I would love to be able to sponsor like a self-advocacy kind of a group, right? Using these as discussion to generate discussion and support, in that way too.
Yeah, I pasted my email in the chat, so feel free to email me and we could set something up to have a conversation about it.
Definitely. Thank you.
That'll be good. All right, does everybody have access to this Menti poll now? So I think 5 people have completed it. So it looks like we would have to set up an implementation series. So that's really interesting. So thank you for sharing that information with us as well. So the next slide, we will go over some of the different upcoming events. One of the things that I would suggest is Ingrid is actually going to paste the registration links to the next sessions. So next Thursday, we are going to be doing almost, I don't know another word to say this, but it's like a speed dating on all of the different resources. We have coping cards that we created, tip sheets for youth suicide and prevention, crisis lines. So we have a whole array of like different resources that we're going to be showcasing next Thursday. And we'll have a conversation about how to disseminate some of this information. September 16th we are going to have a trauma and self-care in the classroom product that we created. And we also have a guest speaker. So we have Heidi Cisneros, who's also going to be helping with the presentation. On September 23rd, we are having active approaches to suicide prevention. So we developed a suicide prevention campaign development for prevention that is, it could be a tier 1, tier 2, and also addresses the tier 3 interventions. And we also have Heidi Cisneros back as a presenter as well. And September 30th, we also have another product called the Orange Folder Initiative, where we have it's customizable resources for each school site, so they can actually connect a student to a student who is in distress to the appropriate resources. And we have Clara D'Agostino, who's going to be presenting that information. So we have so many different products and resources available for the school community. And so the last piece, as we're kind of wrapping up, I know we have, we're over about a minute. This is a great conversation. This is more information. So if you want to reach out to us, I did put my email and information on the chat so that you can actually send us more information. One thing, if you could take a little bit of time to fill out the next Mentimeter as well, to let us know more information about, I know this was a very quick showcasing of information, but we will have more details to follow as far as like implementation of all the additional resources for the school community. So we thank you so much for being here today. I know this is very fast, but we appreciate the time that you took to learn about some of the resources for the resource directory.